I would like to call to order a regular meeting of the Board of Education, July 23rd, 2019 at 7 o'clock p.m. Kathy, could you please call the roll?
Blakely. Here. Drummond.
Here.
Gaspar.
Here.
Locke. Here. Lowe. Mike's.
Okay. Short crowd tonight. We can all just stand up and join in the Pledge of Allegiance together. We're all going to lead it. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and Dr. Hitchens, are there any items to be added or removed from the agenda tonight?
We will be adding to the personnel report. As most of the community knows, we've hired Dr. Kelly Karnick to be the principal of Bertolo Middle School, and everybody's very thrilled about that. But Kelly did leave behind a vacancy for the director of curriculum, and we do have her replacement that we have offered the job to today, and so we would like to add her to that personnel list. And so we will do that when it comes time to do the consent agenda. Nope, Tony's.
Okay, see, I already forgot. And we do not have any public comments tonight, and we do not have any of our partners tonight. And I believe, if I'm correct, John is the only one with a committee update because this is the only committee that's met.
Oh, really?
I believe so. So wow us, Mr. Gaspar.
Oh, wow, okay. Hall of Honor, Thursday, September 19th. And booklet has already been printed and previewed, and the registration is now open. You go to the website, the Batavia website, and then go somewhere.
Yep, at the top, under About Us is the Hall of Honor. Yep.
The Hall of Honor is at, I forget what page it
Oh,
is.
it's About Us. When you
About
go to
Us.
it. Yep.
So please sign up.
September 19th, I just heard.
September 19th.
All right, and no one else? No, you guys didn't have committees, did you? Okay, then we're gonna have Tony take us through the consent agenda.
Items 4.1 through 4.3 are the regular, special, and closed session minutes for the month of June. 4.4 is the personnel report, and that is with the addition of a new director of curriculum instruction to replace Kelly Karnick's position. And I met her today. Her name's Ming, but I don't remember her last name.
Did she get added to the report?
I
So
will
she
add her
hasn't
right
yet
now.
been added to the report
Okay.
on board docs, but we'll do that.
I'll do that right now.
Item 4.5, regular payrolls and bills for the month of June. Item 4.6, destruction of closed session recordings. That would be for 18 months prior. And that would be January of 2018. Item 4.7 is donations, $2,000 from the Book Love Foundation for the purchase of books at Bertolo Middle School. Item 4.8, second reading for policy, which includes various policies for board operations, students, and staff. Item 4.9 is a land cash intergovernmental agreement with Kane County to accept cash contributions for developments that were built in the county. Item 4.10 is the amending another intergovernmental agreement with West Chicago and Geneva for the cooperative swimming and diving team. Item 4.11 are 3 curriculum contracts of various amounts for NWEA, IXL, and Hops and Naviance. Item 4.12 is the paper bid for fiscal 20 with Moraine Paper in the amount of $57,541. And item 4.13 is approval of the consent agenda.
All right, questions from anybody on the consent agenda?
Is that the same paper company that we used last year, or is this different?
I don't think it's the
No.
same company, no, but it's a similar amount.
Okay.
Midland was last year.
Midland, okay. Thank you.
All right, then I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the addition of Ming Shelby as Director of Curriculum, and Dr. Hitchens already added her to the report.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Blakely, second by Locke. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm not opposing, I'm just abstaining.
All right, I will make sure that my voice vote of aye is also heard, so that our consent agenda passes. Next item on our agenda is our reports. I'm sure Dr. Hitchens?
Sure, we have a FOIA report with 2 FOIAs for the month. If there's any questions on that, I would answer those right now, if I could. And then the second report is the policy first reading. And since we are short a few board members, we don't need to engage in a long discussion about this because we can wait until the full board is back, but I can get your input right now. The first policy that we're looking at changing is communications to and from the Board of Education. Some of it came out of our workshop that we had in June. We had a board workshop where we talked about communication, so there's a few updates there, but there are also a few minor suggestions from press. And then along those same lines, we will update the public participation at school board meetings to incorporate some press updates as well. I would like to talk about quickly or as long as you want, in 2140, communications to and from the board, the press recommendation is that no board member replies to emails from the board, but I know our practice has always been to have the board president acknowledge for the person who took the time to email the board. So the board president usually replies and says, just so you know, the board did receive your email. And so I added that at the bottom of this policy, unless we want to change the practice, because the board in the past has said that you value having a board member reach back to that community member, but we know that based on the role of the board, they're not necessarily engaging or answering a lot of questions or giving their opinion, they're just acknowledging receipt of that email and pointing them in the right direction.
Okay. That might be a topic we want to, at our next board workshop,
All right.
address as a group.
And then there are some documents and executive content as well, because they're just still drafts based on our feedback from our communications workshop, but since we're not fully present tonight, we will definitely wait and talk about those together at our next meeting. And when we do that, I'll bring back any feedback. If you wanted to give it to me, I can share it with the rest of the board, or you can just bring back your feedback to the rest of the board when we talk about these. Any questions about the policy report? This is just first reading, no vote.
No? Okay.
The third report, again, no vote. It's our treasurer's reports. We see those every month. Usually I put them second, but I accidentally put them third right now. But those are our treasurer's reports. Questions on those? All right, 3 more reports. One of them is the class of 2019 that graduated in May. We usually come back around and talk about all of their accomplishments. So, Brad, you want to kick it
Yep,
off?
Dr. Joanne Smith is coming to the table, and we're going to both highlight one aspect of this report and then see if the board has any questions.
Thank you for letting us do this every year. It's, graduation is my favorite night, not it's yours, but it's my favorite night. I think it's just such a great opportunity to see the hard work that has been going on for sometimes 13, 14 years as our district, gets those kids to be ready for the world. So a couple of things, there's a lot of information here, but a couple of things we wanted to highlight. One is I want to highlight the dual credit. So that's, I think the second section, it's under post-secondary experiences. So we've worked really hard over the past few years to increase the number of students that are earning dual credit. And just to remind you guys, that's a process where they take the courses at Batavia High School with our staff at a much reduced rate, usually between $24 and $48 for the course. And they do then receive Wabanzi Community College credit, which then typically transfers to almost every university. And we've increased those courses over the years and increased kind of our ad campaign to get kids into it, get the information out to parents. So we now have 10 dual credit courses in English, psychology, kind of a wide range of courses. And so that's been a big push of ours, is to get more and more students access to that, because we really feel like it sets them up for success, whether they go to vocational school or a college. It saves a ton of money for them, thousands and thousands of dollars. Some of them are leaving Batavia High School with 12 to 15 credits, which is, a semester of college. They're really getting a leg up. And then some students marry that with the AP classes, and so they're getting dual credit classes, and they're getting maybe some credits from some AP exams. And so some are leaving with a lot of credits. Actually, they have to be careful to not enter as a sophomore. Sometimes that's always it's a concern. So, so any questions on dual credit?
Oh, I love it. I think it's
They're amazing. Yeah, it's almost 100 more.
Yeah.
The only thing is that the teacher has to be qualified with the college itself,
Right.
right? There's got to
Right.
be something.
Masters in their
So
content
typically a
area?
master's or 18 plus hours in that particular content area. So yes, it is, sometimes that's a concern for, I know some of our local schools is, that might be why they're not offering as many dual credit classes because they don't have the staff to do it. We're lucky enough to have an abundance of staff members with those master's degrees in those content areas, and we have that great partnership with Avanzi, and so we're able to get the right number of staff.
Is it only the degree, or do they have to go through any kind of training?
They do not, just the degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they work with Bonzi though?
Yes, yes, we do meet with them. We have a great liaison we work with, and they do meet with them, especially, if they're an experienced teacher in that class, they'll meet with them less frequently, but certainly if there's changes or things like that.
Because it's essentially the same syllabus, right?
It's exactly the same syllabus, yeah. Same textbook, if there's a textbook, that we have to use that same textbook, so, yeah, it's taking the same class.
Yeah, and I think my favorite part is the fact that we give kids this true college opportunity with the supports that we do so well at the high school. And so it's the perfect thing for students still in high school to experience.
Then Brad's going to talk about the seal of biliteracy, which is something new that we're bringing to you guys this year.
Sure. In kind of the middle of the report, there above advanced placement, there's a small section, because we don't have a lot of longitudinal data on this because the first time we're offering it. But we have 27 of our seniors who graduated with a special mark on their transcript called the Seal of Biliteracy. This is something offered to districts through the state of Illinois for students who show high levels of proficiency in English, but also in another foreign language. So we had 27 students who took the SAT and then the corresponding language test and showed high levels of proficiency in both and obtained the Seal of Biliteracy, which we think is incredible for those students in terms of a leg up in college, both in the workforce, but also something that speaks well of our world language department at the high school and the middle school.
Do you see that number growing? Or do you consider that number about where it might just?
Yeah, we see that growing, and the world language department just started this at kind of mid-year in curriculum review, so that their curriculum aligns to the expectations of the test that would grant them that Seal of Biliteracy. So they think they can do some realignment and some adjustment to instruction to give kids an experience that would lead them to being successful on that.
Was this just Spanish and French
And Latin.
and Latin?
And if kids were fluent in other languages, they could take those subject area tests as well.
They could.
Yes.
But those were the two pieces out of the class of 2019 report that we wanted to highlight from you, but we'll be happy to take any questions.
Quick question on SATs, those seem like significant jumps.
We don't have a ton of, because it's relatively new in the state of Illinois. We switched from ACT, which we had
Right.
years of data, on to the SAT. We saw a jump in the number of kids meeting those college readiness benchmarks. That communication is slightly muddied by the state of Illinois decided to adopt different college readiness benchmarks, even though the College Board has a significant body of research that set the number as to the propensity for college success. So it's hard for us to communicate what that really means, but we did see a jump in the percentage of our students meeting in one subject and both. So we're really happy about that. System-wide, we have to see kind of that play out over a number of years to see what our baseline should be and where we can obtain some improvements system-wide.
Because this really is our second year, right?
Yes. Our second
Graduating
administration.
class together.
Yeah.
Those benchmark numbers there, the 530 and the 480, are the benchmarks to get into a dual credit course. So that's kind of why we are displaying this, because it's we want to get that number, I mean, optimally to, 100% of our kids are ready to enter a dual credit class. We're not there yet, but we're good.
It's a nice improvement. Any
Any
other
other
questions?
questions?
I always love reading about our students.
Kudos to them.
Thanks, guys. All right, back over to you, Joy.
Thank you.
All right, but we have 2 more reports tonight. Tony will go over the 2022 mid-budget.
So we presented a preliminary version of the 2020 budget last month, and this tentative version isn't much different, although it will continue to change before its final adoption in September. Tonight we ask that you review this tentative budget so that it can be placed on public display, which must be done for at least 30 days prior to adoption. And we'll hold a public hearing for opportunities from the community to comment on this budget and its drafts of it at the next meeting in August, which I believe is the 20th off the top of my head. Right now, we're anticipating a surplus of $3 million, although that is deceiving. We haven't factored in all of our hires yet. We're in the process of hiring more teachers to address class size issues, and those individuals aren't in here yet. We're also negotiating with the DEA a new contract, and those amounts aren't in here yet either. And so there's also some revenues that we believe that we'll be receiving for mandated categoricals that we haven't fully parsed with the adoption of the state budget. So it's still, to be clear, a work in progress, and you'll see more as we get closer to its adoption in September. This budget, I would also note, is significantly higher than last year and in total amount because of on-behalf payments. Last year, we had anticipated when we adopted the budget that we'd receive indirectly $17 million in on-behalf payments, and yet we received $27 million from the state. And so this budget predicts a similar amount. Now, on-behalf payments are basically what the state pays toward our teachers' pension liabilities. It isn't what the liabilities that are generated in a given year, but just what they paid in the last year toward those liabilities and our share of those liabilities that were paid in the last year. So it isn't a number that we have control over. It isn't money that we receive directly. It's just money that's paid and moves through our books and we're required to report. That is done by the state. So it can be deceiving. We try to break all those numbers wherever possible so that it can be clear in terms of how much money is actually passing through the school district's coffers. That's the highlight of it, unless there are any questions that you might have.
Well, as you just said the date, I was just wondering on this report here, it has August 29th, so is it then August 20th on the?
I think that's probably
Probably just a typo.
typo.
So I just want to make sure, is it
August
20th?
The next
Yeah,
board
it's the
meeting.
20th.
Okay.
My apologies for that.
I can't remember, Tony, I know that we talked about the fact that not everything gets booked when you do this tentative budget. Do you update it, even though this is the one going on file?
Yes, thanks for asking that question because it gets very confusing. And while we have closed the books on the prior year, not all the transactions have made it into our budget documents yet. For example, when you look at teacher salaries, they'll show last year actuals dramatically less than what we had budgeted, and that's because we pay our teachers for their prior year's work in the months of July and August, and the system hasn't encumbered those amounts just yet. Just when we ran the reports to prepare for the board meeting, it wasn't ready yet. I'm sure it actually has been now. I haven't checked in the last day or so, but I'm sure it actually will be up to date as of yesterday. So those amounts can be really confusing. And like I said, we won't start paying teachers for the next school year until September, but they're on a kind of a offset cycle. You might also see too that our property tax revenues are dramatically lower than what we had anticipated. And after I had a heart attack initially, after receiving that and thinking that, oh my gosh, maybe I did some dreadful mistake, it's that the county treasurer's office hadn't processed all the payments that they had received. And we have in fact received them, but we didn't receive them until July, a month after we closed the books. And so we'll have to accrue those back into the prior year.
And we're working on medical insurance.
And medical insurance, yes, we're working on that. We're anticipating an 11% increase, and that's what our rates are at present. But if you recall,
Now it's our turn to have our team.
yes.
Yeah.
If you recall, we're doing the 6-month plan year, and the rates are 11% higher than the prior year, but we think that through plan design modifications, we can get that amount lower in the totality of the year to our target amount, which is close to 5%. Right now, this is the best
I actually think I didn't
information I
understand
have.
that. So even though we're gonna have this massive, incredible 11% jump for the first 6 months, we're gonna handle it so well in the last 6 months that we think it's gonna average to about 5%.
That's the plan.
That'd be
That's the
awesome.
point.
Hopefully.
Well, we're working toward it, and I know you know how concerned the board is, so I just feel the need to bring it up every meeting that we talk about it, but I know that you are working on it. Thank you, Timmy.
Is that it? Other questions before we move on?
All right, Board of Education vacancy.
All right, this is our last report of the evening, and the seat to my right is now vacant. And the board policy and Illinois School Code really tells us how to fill that vacancy, and it's through an application process. You're required to take applications and resumes, and you have 45 days to swear in a new board member. So the process, we did put it in writing, we did a press release, put it on social media, put it on the website. We've begun to communicate it, but we also know that we needed to talk about it at an open board meeting. First of all, to make sure that people have an awareness of this vacancy and are welcome to apply. And the second reason is that your board policy actually go above and beyond and say we need to talk about it as an open meeting, at an open meeting, so that the community understands how our process works here in Batavia. So the part that isn't up for discussion is you have to take resumes. The person has to be a registered voter. They have to have lived in the district for at least a year. They have to be 18 years old. They can't have a vested interest in a business partner that, they can't have a vested partnership that does business with the district, those types of things. And we, since we only have 45 days, I did figure out the board calendar, your individual personal calendars, and we landed on a date of August 6th, where we will try to interview whoever you guys decide to select for the interviews. The interviews are in closed session, and so we will begin inviting people to schedule those interviews with you. So Kathy Scafidi and I are here to help out in any way, but I need to turn it over to the board and say, how do you want to select the candidates? So right now, there's an online application where they answer 3 questions. They do the check boxes to confirm that they're eligible to be a board member, and then they submit a resume. So we're collecting copies of those for you, and now it's up to you guys to decide who are you going to invite in, and is August 6th, you know, that's the date that we settled on, and I think 4 o'clock start time worked for everybody.
I know in the past, we've done this 2 times, I believe, since I've sat on the board, and we have always just interviewed every candidate.
Yeah.
Unless we have a desire to change that.
I would say unless there's hundreds.
And I think that we have the opportunity.
Just bring your
to-
sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Right, if we had that many, we could do some combination of either shorter interviews or choose a second date if we really need to.
But yeah,
But,
I think we should interview everyone that applies.
Yeah. And really, other than that, I think that we've enjoyed that process of getting to meet every candidate and really giving everyone an equal opportunity.
I agree.
Excellent.
All right, we will, so we'll pull all the applications together for you so you have time to read them. When would you like us to close the application? We did say we would take applicants
It's
for
next
another.
Tuesday, isn't it?
We put
At
that
noon?
in there, next Tuesday at noon, if you guys are okay with
I
that.
think since it's already been put out there, you just keep it.
Okay, and then we could get.
Less confusion.
Well, and I
Wait,
think
next Tuesday is
Would be the last
last
date for
day
them
we
to put in
collect
an
them.
application.
because then that
okay.
gives us a week to read the resumes. Some of us like to have lots of time.
Right.
Well, I mean, some people might be on vacation still, or
Yeah.
people are still thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will, we'll get you guys your packets by next Wednesday. So
31st.
Kathy and I will have the packets here of all the applicants and their resumes and their application questions. And so if you want to pick those up, and if you're not able to, we will hand deliver them to you so you can prepare for that meeting. In the board documents are the, if you log in using, to the procedure, this procedure is not open to the public because it has the interview questions in it. If you want to review those, see if you like them, we'll spend a few minutes prior to the interviews to make sure those questions are correct. And then the only other question I have for you is you guys are interviewing on August 6th. I put in a question on the application to say, are you available for an interview? And so far, all the candidates are available for either a phone interview or an in-person interview, because we do realize this is vacation season for some people. But what happens if somebody replies no, and then I ask them to contact me, or I can contact them? So do we?
Can you let us know?
Yeah.
Figure out.
Yeah, I would, I mean, I feel like even if you were on vacation, it's a 10 or 15 minute interview. Hopefully they'd be willing to, or available sometime in that 4 to 9-ish p.m. time period to.
They wait for 15 minutes?
Yeah, and if not, if there's some reason why it
I'll
just
find out
doesn't
if somebody
work.
says no, I'll find out
Then
the
we could figure out.
extenuating circumstances,
Yeah.
and we'll make a plan then.
Yeah,
Okay.
and people may not be aware that they can do like a conference call in. I guess it's not really a conference call, it's speakerphone call in.
Yeah.
With us, so maybe that would alleviate any of those concerns, because I know we actually did one.
There was a phone, it was a
Yeah.
conference. We did a
Mhm.
conference.
Yeah, we can set that up. Okay, so yeah, like I said, so far, all of the candidates are able, the way the question is worded is, are you available for an interview in person or virtually on August 6th? And so far, everybody's okay.
And then the question is when we would actually make the decision, correct?
So the way that Kathy and I talked about putting the agenda together would be you would go into closed session, do all the interviews, and then come out or you could still debate and discussion in closed session. And if you're able to come to a consensus that evening, you can come out and vote on your preferred candidate so that we could start to contact people and prepare the one candidate for their board meeting in August where you would actually swear them in and it would become official. And then part of your deliberation could be if you need more time or more.
Right, because we always have the option, if we
Right.
don't put it, a potential vote on the agenda, we can't vote that night.
Correct.
But if we do put it on, we could vote, or we could decide in closed
Table.
session that we need more time. and we
Exactly.
could table it.
You don't
Okay.
have to vote.
Why should put everything in, because maybe after we decide and you call them up and tell them, they might say, I've changed my mind.
Based on your interview?
I don't know, you never
say
know.
much about
You have to think about everything.
After meeting us, they're gonna be so darn
Right?
excited.
You have to plan for everything.
Okay.
Better safe than sorry.
So, and then if people approach you guys in the community and have questions, I'm happy to answer those questions, so just so that you can stay neutral since you guys are the ones that are making the decision.
Yeah.
If you want me to.
I highly
I
recommend
think
we,
people can ask, yeah, I mean,
well, I
they
would
should if
just,
they're interested about the position.
right, but I feel like that we should probably not have it, extensive conversations, because it could then seem that someone sort of has an in, you know, we don't want to be Chicago politics here, folks.
So just refer them, please.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm happy to
And
answer
she's
any questions
neutral,
about the
and she does not,
process.
even though she's on our team of 8,
Mm-hmm.
you do not vote that
I
night,
do
and
not
so it's
vote,
perfect,
no.
so she would not have,
Come on in, guys, no big deal.
not in the water fund.
Come on, just do
All
it.
right.
Okay, so your
That was
packets will
super
be
easy.
ready to pick up next Wednesday, and if you don't pick them up in a day or two, Kathy and I will arrange to hand
They'll
deliver
be on
those
your
to you.
doorstep.
No. Hand deliver.
Excellent. All right, so that is all of the items on our quick and easy agenda tonight. We'll jump right to administration comments.
I just have to wish Holly Beachman good luck this Saturday as she defends the district's chili
Not that there's any
championship
pressure.
title. She's taking on the district team that will hopefully, we won last
Yeah.
year, and she's taking on that team captain position this year.
Way to
So
step up.
best of luck.
I will guard that trophy with my spatula.
I like it.
We look forward to lots of tweets about
Yes.
your day. That's all to me.
That
Sounds
is
good.
awesome. Jen, you want to start with comments?
I just want to thank everyone and for answering all my questions, and Lisa yesterday in the meeting, and for the people that are applying for this vacancy and emails received, and Kelly, good luck. at the middle school. And everybody just enjoy, still have a few weeks, and be safe. Thank you.
Congratulations to Kelly. Although I know as a board as a whole, we were very sad to see Brian's resignation. That was something we took very to heart, but we are happy that Kelly, who we love, is here to replace. So congrats and awesome job on all the high school stuff. And have a good rest of your summer.
I would just concur.
That's awesome.
Congratulations. Forward
Easy.
to a great year.
All right, so Kelly, we're throwing you, we're so excited to go to the middle school. Anything you want to share or talk about before we, to put you on the spot?
Super excited, like beyond excited. I loved my 6 years here, but it's like, I'm so excited and so full of joy, I guess, to be back. I feel like, somebody sent me an email and said, welcome home. And I was like, I teared up and said, that doesn't happen often. So I can't wait. I cannot wait for all the teachers to come back and the kids to come back. So it's a little overwhelming, I have to admit, kind of coming in at this time, but it's going to be great. We're going to have a great year.
Well, I do have personal experience because you were there when my kids were there, and not that my kids ever got in trouble, but you were super popular, so I'm excited that you're going back.
Thank you.
And we will miss Brian, but we've got a good path to move forward. All right, so if that is everything, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gaspar, second by Locke, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned.